to Acres Homes with Love. Chapter 1. The Good Die Young. Lindsay leaned over to Siobhan. I hate this part of funerals. They had reached the part of the service where people could give 3-minute remarks. Siobhan just continued to stare at the program. DeAndrea Lanice James. Date of services, Saturday, September 1st, 2007. Sunrise, September 20th, 1977. Sunset, August 24th, 2007. She was baptized in 1985. She left behind 2 older sisters and 1 older brother. Her mom preceded her in death only 2 years prior. She had a host of uncles, aunts, cousins, and friends. She had 3 special friends since childhood: Lindsay LeBlanc, Tanisha Goodall, and Siobhan Tate. Folks started to fidget once it was Boogaloo's time to talk. He couldn't say 1 full sentence without stuttering. He would need at least 5 minutes. People who were from Acres Homes giggled when he started to talk about all the trips he had made to the corner store for Dee Dee. He ended by saying, Dee Dee, was angel, thank you. Everybody understood why he would say so. Dee Dee would always say kind things to Boogaloo, which was something other people rarely did. He was something like a mascot in the community. He wore the same Tupac t-shirt daily since he won it from Magic 102 in 1996. Dee Dee always used to call him her boyfriend. That made him head over heels for her, and every day that he seen her sitting out on her porch, he would offer to walk to the store for her. The program never mentioned anything about how stunning she was. Dee Dee was flawless. It was hard to say if she was more amazing inside or out. Aside from being super sweet, she had smooth peanut butter brown skin, fluffy black lashes draped over her huge almond-shaped eyes, which were the color of amber marbles. Her jet black hair had a soft, natural wave pattern flowing down to her mid-back like Pocahontas's. Even a 100% heterosexual woman couldn't help but notice her nice shape. But in her casket, she looked dark, frail, and awful. The whole hood couldn't stop talking about what Fiji had done to her. Her dad, Pastor B.C. James, was the officiating minister. Of course, his sermons had a lot to do with making the right choices in order to escape the gates of hell. Every hustler who hadn't already tipped out during the sermon was stumbling over one another to get to the exit door once Pastor James stretched his hand forward. It was time for him to extend an invitation to either join church or receive special prayer. Tanisha's little brother, Doobie, slowly approached the altar and joined church. Right when he was getting the right hand of fellowship from the associate minister, Tanisha ran outside. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Y'all go help her. Pastor James was talking to the Lord and the ushers in the same breath. Big Lynn and Siobhan were already walking briskly after their friend. They found her sobbing loudly in the parking lot, which looked like a car show event. Everybody who was somebody was at the funeral. There was 24 to 28-inch chrome everywhere. In Acres Homes, 22s meant the owner must be barely hustling, or not at all. You all right? Siobhan asked. Big Lynn interrupted. Bitch, you better be all right. You and Siobhan is going to have to stop all this crying y'all doing. Damn, I need a blunt. Tanisha just laughed through her tears. Big Lynn has always been true to her astrological sign. Cancer. The crab is hard on the outside and always snapping at others in order to protect its mushy insides. God broke the mold when he made Lindsay LeBlanc. She's been aggressive ever since she moved from Compton, California to Houston during her 5th grade school year. All of her classmates were about 2 inches shorter than her then, so they nicknamed her Big Lynn. Even though Tanisha was somewhat shy, she became Big Lynn's first friend. The two girls had been coupled together for a science project. Tanisha later introduced Lynn to her 2 friends from church. From there, the 4 remained inseparable. Lindsay's new neighborhood, Acres Homes, seemed slow like molasses back then. But that was then. Now, she was wishing that things around her would just slow down for at least a minute. Time stood still at the burial site. It seemed like forever before they could finally get to Lunka's house and away from so many reminders of death. When they arrived to his house, nearly 15 vehicles lined Lunka's block. His trophy wife was visibly annoyed. It seemed like she knew it better than anyone else did that she didn't belong there. Lunka was so cool about the situation that he offered for her to call her mother and go shopping. That girl ain't no fool. She ain't finna leave your sexy ass up in her own house with every hoe from the hood. Now. She ain't finna do it. Believe me, she's smarter than she looks. Lunka's wife just rolled her eyes at Big Lynn and then eased onto the bar stool at the island bar in the kitchen while declining her husband's offer. It had been a long time since Lynn was 2 inches taller than her peers. She's been 5'5" since high school, and Lunka always did admire her long torso, pear shape, and full lips. His wife wasn't anywhere close to erasing her memory of an 8x10 photo she had seen of Lunka and Lynn at Lynn's prom. Not to mention, fuel was added to the fire when Lunka's mama made it her duty a few Christmases prior to point out her favorite photo of Big Lynn, where she just happened to have been sporting Lunka's Letterman jacket. Mama Tate wasn't even all that fond of Lynn, but she certainly wasn't too crazy about her new gold digger-in-law. Sugar, come outside and kick it with me and Tanisha and them. Big Lynn spoke sweetly to Lunka with a meddlesome grin. His wife snarled. First of all, William, she needs to stop calling you those little pet names and address you by your legal name. If your pawpaw named you Lunk of Sugar when you were a kid, fine. But he's dead and you're grown, and that bitch ain't family. And yes, I think shopping's a great idea. I'm leaving. He turned slowly and glared at her. Although the name had been shortened over the years, it's true that Lunka's grandfather had named him that because of how sweet he was in comparison to his ruthless brothers, Black Bo, which is Robert, and Mac, which is McKinley. It's known by the people around him that even though Mac and Bo are radical and merciless soldiers, Lunka is a conservative but fearless warrior. His wife knew it would probably be best for her to leave before she triggered Mr. Hyde, so she grabbed her Fendi bag and disappeared. People were whispering among themselves about how Lunka had the place set up for them. There were 12 round tables in his plush, oversized yard. They were covered with elegant umbrellas, and each table had a bottle of Cristal waiting for its guests. When one bottle was emptied, Boogaloo would bring more Cristal to the appropriate table. Lunka was nice enough to pay Boogaloo to wait on the guests. The thing that most surprised people was how nice he looked in the clothes Lunka had bought for him to wear to the funeral. A girl named Trisha Dean strutted up to Lynn, Lunka, Tanisha, and Siobhan. Damn, y'all! What the hell did Fiji do to Dee Dee? She looked fucked up. Siobhan jumped up, dropping her plate onto Lunka's caramel-colored suede sectional. Roach, if you don't get your busted up, scar-faced ass out of my face, you're going to get dealt with. Lunka grinned and declared, girl, you done woke up a sleeping giant. You better go on and go. Better yet, just leave now, little mama, all right? Get your shit and thanks for coming, okay? Then he turned to Siobhan and asked, you all right, Black Al? I'm chilling. I'm sorry about your couch. I'll get it clean for you. He just stopped her mid-sentence with a peck on the cheek and said, pretty girl, please, you tripping. Enjoy yourself and relax before I put you back there with my other vicious queen, Cleopatra. Cleopatra's a gorgeous, full-blooded Rottweiler which happens to hate Lunka's wife more than any of his loved ones ever could. Siobhan calmed down as Tanisha passed her the cigarillo she had rolled. When it was Big Lynn's turn, she stood up and waved the goods in the air as an open invitation for Black Bo to join them. He smiled with all those gold teeth and waded through the crowd towards her. Once Bo was close enough to spot Siobhan, he stopped dead in his tracks. Oh, hell no. Y'all setting me up. I refuse to smoke with the Brainiac. She blows my high every single time. That's a waste of weed. When I'm high, I want to hear about broads like Trina and Beyonce or somebody like that. Black gal gonna start talking about broads like Barbara Jordan and Harriet Tubman. Nope. I pass. Ever since they were children, Bo had a strange way of showing love to his baby sister. He would agitate her. He called her the Brainiac due to her level of intellect, brain, mixed with the horrible temper, maniac. He often made fun of how she earned A's in academics but U's in conduct due to fighting during her school years. Would you shut your country-ass mouth? I don't want to smoke with you either. Siobhan snapped back. Bo flopped down onto her lap and then kissed her. Right then seemed like the most appropriate time for the crew to know the full truth, so Lunka was delicate in his approach. Siobhan, when you going to tell us what all happened last Friday? We all love Dee Dee too. And I know you need to release it anyways. Come on, Black gal. He knew how devastated his younger sister had felt about witnessing her favorite friend's death. On Channel 13 News, the reporter simply said, a local Baptist minister's daughter was slain today at their North Side home. She was a highly favored second-grade teacher at Osborne Elementary. DeAndrea James was 29 years old with no children. Nobody truly knew all the details of Dee Dee's murder, although the crime scene was gruesome enough to spark a lot of gossip and speculation. Only Siobhan knew the brutal truth about everything that had happened. Lunka could tell that whatever his sister had seen on that day had changed her life forever. You want me to change the subject? He asked. Much to his surprise, Siobhan began to open up. She stared aimlessly and described the tragedy in sketchy details. Fiji asked her to move back in with him. She was nervous. She was nice, but she said no. He grabbed her hair. He smashed her face into his Hummer. That was the first time. I heard something inside of Dee Dee crack. He smashed her face into his truck again. There was so much blood. By the third time, she seemed limp. By the 10th time, he seemed tired. He left her lying next to his truck. He stepped over her body to get his lighter from his console. He sat on her porch, smoked his Newport, and called the police. Right after he finished his cigarette, he kissed her corpse. Then the cops came. I watched her through the screen for over an hour. Dee Dee had locked the burglar bars. Pastor James showed up, and of course, he let me out of the house. Siobhan inhaled and said, "That's pretty much it." Lanka and the others sat quietly. Their silence was broken by Boogaloo asking where he could find a dustpan. Siobhan hugged them all goodbye and went home.